Nomadic life isn't what you expect it to be. But don't worry, you're still going to see these amazing things. I'm Sean Brett, and this is my travel life. Before you start nomadic life, you're going to come up with these rules for yourself, like I can't stay anywhere more than 6 months, I can't revisit a place, or I can't have more than 2 bags. These rules are going to be all in your own head, and they're things that you think if you break these rules, you're not going to be living nomadically no more. And I say, screw that. You don't plan to do nomadic travel so you can have rules. You did it for freedom. So today I'm going to explain what it's like to be a nomadic traveller for the first 3 months, and all the stuff that you're going to mess up, just like I did. Or maybe you won't mess up these exact ways, but similar way. So here are my top 10 tips for the first 3 months of nomadic travel. Tip number 1, you're not the person that you think you're going to be. You have this idea in your head that you're going to be fantastic as soon as you leave the house. You're going to be great at saving money. You're going to be healthier. You're going to travel more. You're going to have this extrovert lifestyle when you're an introvert. It's not going to happen overnight, and you need to know this. It's not like you're going to pick up your bag and gonna leave, put your bag on, and you're going to become this fantastic person. It doesn't happen overnight. For me, I've spent a lot of money while in Scotland, and that's because I bought a car, because I didn't plan to buy a car because I thought public transport would be brilliant, which it is, but it's a lot slower to get around and seeing things, and I really want to get around and see a lot of places, which is a tip that I've got later on. Tip number 2, you're not the only person doing this. It's quite easy to think that you're the only person wanting to travel the world, because in your bubble before you go off travelling, a lot of people look at you and think you're crazy and like, going to travel the world? You're an idiot, how are you going to have money and all this? And as soon as you start travelling, you meet so many people just like you. You're not the only person wanting to do this. So it's not as lonely as you first thought. I got here and I was like, I want to travel the world. I'm going to be meeting people continuously, just meeting people, saying goodbye to them, meeting new people, saying goodbye to them as I travel along. And I didn't know that I was going to meet people that I want to travel with. I've got a girlfriend now, and yeah, she likes to travel too. We've seen a lot of Scotland together, and it was not something that I planned for, and it's brilliant. Tip number 3, travel slower. It's so easy to get to a place and be like, oh, I'm here. I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to see this. I want to go here today, there tomorrow, and I'm going to go there the day after. And you just really want to get around and see everything. And then you realise that you barely saw anything because you was travelling so quickly. For me, I got to Glasgow, and when I arrived at Glasgow, I was like, wow, I'm here, I'm in Scotland, going to quickly see Glasgow, going to get to Cranlarrick, and then I was like, oh, next week I can go off to Glencoe, and then the week after I went to Oban, and I was like, great, I've seen all these places. And then I was like, I've seen all these places, but I've seen little parts of them. So my suggestion is, go see these places, spend more time there, travel slower, see more. Plus, it saves you money. Tip number 4, don't travel by a label. It's quite easy to go, I'm nomadic, so I've got to do this, I've got to do that to stay nomadic. What's the point of travelling by a label if you're not going to travel the way you want to travel? It's a hard way to explain, but before you go off on nomadic travel, you're like, as I was saying at the start of the video, you can't stay at a place for more than 6 months, or you have these weird rules that you can't revisit a place, or find a settled place if you really enjoy it. Why take that away from yourself? For me, I've really enjoyed Glasgow since being down here, and I plan to do at least another 6 months in Glasgow after Cranlarrick. And that's because it's such a wonderful place, and I want to see more of that area and more areas around Scotland, because Scotland wasn't what I was expecting. It is so much more beautiful. You can see behind me there's mountains, and it just looks fantastic. And there's so much more I want to see of it, and this is because I wasn't expecting it to be so nice. So don't live by a label that says you can't stay more than 6 months, or you can't go and find a place. I was going to do that, and I'd be missing out on so much more. Number 5, don't let the camera control you. I'm not talking about just a camera, I'm talking about pleasing someone on the other end of it. You could be a blogger, a vlogger, a TikToker. It could be anything that you're doing to please other people, and stop trying to please them. This is your travels, and it's so easy to go off the beaten track to find that perfect video for someone, but you're very much dislike doing it. For me, this is going to museums. For example, I could write great blogs on museums and why you should go to this museum. I'm not a massive fan of museums, to be fair. Some museums I really enjoy, don't get me wrong. But if it's a museum that I don't really get and I'm writing a blog piece about it, then I'm doing it for you guys, not for myself. And I'm not going to travel like that, and I don't think you should either. Traveling like that will just make you bored very quickly and spend money that you don't really want to be spending. Tip number 6, you will overachieve and you will underachieve. There's going to be certain things that you found really hard to do, which you thought was going to be super easy, and then vice versa, stuff that is really easy to do that you thought was going to be hard. And this could be really mundane stuff, as in dealing with hostels, being in hostels. Some people might find it harder than they thought it was, some people might find it easier than they thought it was. It's like just sharing rooms and stuff like that. Or it could be other stuff when it comes to traveling, like getting around. For me, it was the building friendships. So the 2 examples of building friendships is, I thought it was going to be really hard to maintain friendships with other people and get to know people, because it's going to be very passing and very glimpsing friendships. That's not the case at all. I've met some really cool people so far. And the one thing I thought was going to be really easy that I found really hard was missing families and friends. Back home, I've travelled before and I've normally get used to it and be like, yeah, I'll see them again soon. But the moment, I've got a lot of friends and family back home that I really do miss, and it's a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. Number 7, find inspiration to travel more. It's so easy to get caught up with not travelling when you're meant to be travelling. For example, it could be work that's holding you back. It could be just sitting in your room playing video games. It could be anything, just you're trying to relax and you kind of forget why you're traveling. So always find inspiration. Inspirations can come from books, YouTube videos like this, vlogs. And for me, it comes from TikToks from my girlfriend, which she finds on the internet. She's like, oh, look at this wonderful place in Scotland, we need to see this. And I'm like, okay, let's go this week and let's go to that one next week. And that's the inspirations I get. Tip number 8, you're not an idiot. Yes, it might seem like a weird one to put in this list, but when you turn up somewhere and you're expecting, after doing months and months of planning, that you're going to be an expert on the area, and as soon as you turn up there, you speak to the first other traveller and they know more than you, and you're like, what? How does that happen? And that happens because, one, they've been at the area, they've actually seen it, where you've just been on Google Maps and saw it and planned it out. They've been in the area, they've seen it, they've seen what you want to do. And it makes you feel like, after all of that months of planning, it's kind of pointless because it's not what you expected. And for me, it was working in Cranlarrick, walker's paradise. And for me, I'm not much of a walker, so I didn't know the local area. I didn't know that it was in the middle of the West Highland Way. I didn't know about Ben Moor. I didn't know about all these places when I arrived. And when people were turning up at the hostel, wanting to talk to me as the hostel receptionist about the local area, I didn't have the knowledge they wanted. It didn't take me long to pick it up, especially when people are telling me about places and I'm just taking their information and recycling it to the next. It didn't make me an idiot, it just made me inexperienced. Hi guys. Yeah, alright, there you are. Funny, I just stopped my video to talk to people about the local area, and I gave them advice that, again, without the experience, I wouldn't have known. And it was just funny because this is what I was just talking about. Tip number 9. It is so easy to be bad with money. When you go off traveling, you're going to start off and it's going to be like a 2-week holiday because everything's new, everything's exciting. So you're like, oh, I want to see this, spend money. I want to see this, spend money. I want to travel here, I want to travel there. And you're spending so much money because you're in holiday mode or vacation mode and you just feel like that's what you should be doing, but it's not. If you want to do long-term travel, it's a marathon, not a sprint. For me, it's slowing down travel, so I have more time to save and more time to travel. So I'll be moving to Glasgow after Cranlarrick because it's a way of slowing it down and spending more time in Scotland. Number 10, going hard or going home isn't a real thing. When you start up, you think, oh, I want to party, I want to experience it, especially getting to Scotland. They know how to drink. Going hard or going home isn't an actual term. If you go hard, you will end up going home early. And that's because you'll spend all your money, you'll get yourself ill, your health will deteriorate. Travelling is a marathon, especially nomadic travelling. If you're planning to travel for a long time like I am, for 10 years, the last thing you want to do is turn up and every night just get absolutely drunk, because you're going to end up spending all your money, getting yourself seriously ill. I'm not saying don't have a good time, don't enjoy it, don't experience everything, don't climb mountains every day and do crazy stuff. I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying think about tomorrow. There is a long journey ahead. If you're going to spend the next years doing nomadic travel, then don't party so hard today, because there's always a party tomorrow. That was so cheesy. So for me, I'm planning to move from Cranlarrick to Glasgow in a couple of months' time. I've now got a car, I've now got a girlfriend. These three things are three things that I never planned to do beforehand. I've got an easier way to travel, I've got someone to travel with, and I'm travelling a lot slower and seeing things in more detail. So when you plan to do your travelling, don't plan so hard, because your plans might just be useless, just like mine. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and you find it helpful for your planning of nomadic travel. And I'll see you guys soon. Hi guys, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to know a bit more about me and my journey, then check out other videos on this channel. I've got me in Edinburgh, Glasgow, Glencoe, Oban and other great places in Scotland. Check out my nomadic journey here.